Have you been considering adding a membership program to your line of products and services, but you just don't know where to begin? Or perhaps you've built the most amazing community here on Google Plus or Facebook, and it's really rocking, and you're a business person. You would like to have it shift into a paid membership program, but how will your community members receive that shift? Or then there's the big issue of how do you bring new members in, and how do you keep the current members engaged and everybody happy and retained? And I don't know. I have so many questions for today's guest. Thank goodness she has a proven track record and the most delicious ingredients for creating a connected, vibrant, and engaged membership program. You are going to love her and her advice. You entrepreneurs, and welcome to the Possibility Partner Show. I'm your host, your Chief Possibility Officer, and I love bringing you Andelicious advice for entrepreneurial adventurers right here on Google Plus Hangouts on Air. And these are conversations with seasoned entrepreneurs, all sharing their best tips, tools, and advice to make sure you and your business thrive, grow, and most importantly, prosper. I am so thrilled that you tuned into this show, and I'm also deeply honored and that you took the time. I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm sending a big yoo-hoo out to the wonderful live viewers. Thank you for swinging by and bringing your delicious energy. I just love seeing you each week. Yay. And you replay viewers, you know how crazy I am in love with you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you for tuning in. And all you new subscribers and viewers, big heartfelt hug for you. Thank you for bringing your special energy to the show today. I love staying connected with viewers. I'm on all the social media platforms. Let's engage. But you know you can always find me hanging out at the bar. Yep, that's Twitter, at Ande Lyons. You can also get more tips, tools, and resources to keep your entrepreneurial adventure humming along and enhance it even more by swinging by my website, andelyons.com. There's tons of advice and resources waiting for you there. And to continue watching the Possibility Partner Show, I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Andelicious Advice. So I had the privilege of hearing today's guest speak for the first time back in May 2011, right here in Boston. It was a live event. And right then and there, I fell deeply and madly in love with her. She has, she's a smart businesswoman and very talented on many levels, but she has this special energy that's filled with compassion and empathy and a deep, deep understanding for the journey of pursuing your dreams and living the life you imagine. I'm beyond thrilled to welcome today's guest, and please join me. Here is speaker, author, and founder of Women on Fire, the glowing, gorgeous goddess, and oh so delicious, Debbie Phillips.
Hey, Andy. Hi, everybody. Hi, Andy. Oh, what a wonderful introduction. Thank you. I feel like I could fly after that. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to meet everyone.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing your experience and your track record with membership programs. But before we go there, let's talk about your background. This is where a lot of us entrepreneurs really need to see the thread that connected and the story that brought people to where they are and what inspired them to be on their journey. And I know you started off as a journalist. So share with everybody how it all began.
Well, I did. I started out as a journalist, but I grew up in a little tiny town in northwestern Ohio called Montpelier, Ohio. It had 4,000 people, and I became a journalist very, very young, and I love that. And then I worked for Senator John Glenn in the 1984 presidential campaign. So I went into politics and government, and what that taught me to do is it really taught me how to make change. That was the wonderful thing about being in politics. I later was the spokesperson for the governor of Ohio, Richard F. Celeste, and from there I ran a television production company. And I did all those things because I wanted to have real jobs. My parents were entrepreneurs, and I vowed the last thing I would ever do in my life is become an entrepreneur.
I love that, Debbie.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting, the thread that ran through both being a journalist and listening to lots of people's stories, working in politics, running a business, all those things, the thing I enjoyed most was it was more joyful for me when people would become successful, when I could help somebody become who they wanted to be. That was the thread, and how lucky am I that the field of life and executive coaching became popular toward the end of my traditional career.
Debbie, what was the catalyst, though? Because there you were minding your own business, working away at a real job, which was very important to you. So something must have happened that you went, uh-oh, or maybe you said, ruh-roh.
Yeah. I completely fell into it. I actually had a break, and I was taking a sabbatical. I was going to go to England. I wanted to write a book on grief. And I fell into working for someone, and I just began doing for him. And then another woman hired me too out of the blue, and I began working for her, doing what I wanted somebody to do for me, which was to really tap into what my gifts, strengths, and talents were and help me express that in the world. And that happened in 1995, 96. No one at that point had heard about life and executive coaching. People thought I was involved in sports, which was hilarious because I know nothing about sports. And I was very fortunate to be in the first group of trained coaches in the world.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's exciting.
I know. And now, how did you get clients back then?
Well, I had these two people ask me to work for them, and I didn't want to do that. So I went to work, and like I said, I began really just doing my own form of coaching. I was doing it for 3 or 4 months, feeling like I was kind of a consultant, but I didn't write reports. I just helped them do their job better. And my best friend called me early one morning and said, oh my gosh, there is a name for what you do, and there's a story about it in Newsweek. And I'm like, well, what's it called? And she said, executive coaching. And I was like, yeah, and that felt right. And I connected with coaches, and it felt like I'm home. I'm with my people. And there you go. That was in 1995.
Wow, because we see a lot of how people get community and get things involved online, but I mean, yes, of course, we had the internet back in 95, folks who were maybe millennials. We were rocking it in many different ways, but so you were maybe bringing people in belly to belly at that time?
Well, it was interesting because we didn't really have the online world. And in fact, as a coach, and I was very, very fortunate the founder of modern day coaching was a gentleman who has since died. His name was Thomas Leonard. And at that point, of course, I was seeing my clients in person. And he said to me, one of the things you're going to need to do is you're going to need to make sure all your clients are on email. So you can start to communicate with them that way. And of course I did. And then eventually, he said you need to have your clients talk to them by phone, which was unheard of. And now, of course, we have Skype and we can do these wonderful things online. So it's evolved.
Now, what also happened was you decided to focus on empowering women. How did that happen?
Well, I started out at one point, my private coaching practice was 80% men and 20% women. My now husband, whom I met over the telephone on a business call as coaches, said to me, are you really happy? I said, well, I love my work, but I want to work with women. And he's like, well, why aren't you? So in 4 months, I flip-flopped my coaching practice. I, turned it to 80% women and 20% men. And not that I don't love men, because I do, but I really love working with women. So what happened was I began working with women. Again, I very much identified because I had been a young executive in the corporate world and in the political world. I so identified with my clients. Many of the women, some of them were in politics, some of them were running companies, or they were at leadership levels in companies. Some of them were entrepreneurs. They were lonely. And I saw that. And I after private coaching practice in 2003, I started putting my clients together, and that's how it grew, because they told their friends and their friends and their friends, and then we have Women on Fire. And that's what I do. That's what I do now. Of course, I don't any longer have an individual coaching practice. I just run Women on Fire as obviously the CEO.
Great. I love that. And you hold the space too for so many women. It's a beautiful, beautiful platform. I'm crazy about it.
Thank you.
What kind of daily practices do you do to keep yourself motivated? And they can be in different realms. It can be personal, professional, whatever. But do you have a special one that you do that helps you keep motivated, inspired, and moving your platform and business forward?
I actually think this is one of the most important things any entrepreneur can do. And if you think you don't have time, ask yourself this question: can you get up 5 minutes earlier in the morning to do a practice? I do one that takes me about 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do. I'm going to show you what it is, because a couple of years ago, one of our Women on Fire got me this cute little, can you see this? It says,
Yes.
I'm grateful for, and it has 5, these are just these specially designed, they're called Gratty Pads. It's by a guy named R. Nichols, fabulous guy. I know him and love him, and I've now met him. I began filling these out about 2 years ago every single morning. And it centers me. It can take me 5 minutes to do this, 3 minutes, can take me 10 minutes. And then I usually, if I don't have time, I'm done. But I usually then read something inspiring. So this morning, for instance, I'm reading a book. So I do the Gratty Pad, and then read something inspirational. This morning I happen to be reading a book. It's called Poems from the Pond. It's by a woman I just interviewed, Lori David. Some of you may know her. She's a filmmaker. And she and her writing partner, Nancy Aroney, found a woman who was 107 years old, and the woman began writing poetry at age 90 to 106. So I read a poem out of here this morning because it's so inspiring to read this woman's work and know that at age 90 we can all still be living our dream.
Boy, it's never, ever, ever too late, everybody. You know, I say that all the time. It's never, ever too late to pursue your dreams. It's not an age thing.
Proof. But daily practices, I'd be curious. Can you share quickly? What do you do for a daily practice?
I'm very ritualistic. I have my morning pages. Well, first I do a 5-minute meditation to just ground me, breathing, centering me. Then I do morning pages, kind of out of the artist way. I just do about 3 pages, just whatever's going on, letting it flow out of me. And Wonderful. Then I light a candle. Maybe I might even burn some white sage. And I light a candle to thank the universe. And my husband and I actually start most of our days together over coffee with 10 gratitudes each.
Love it. Oh, that's such a beautiful ritual, Ande, and so powerful. And it was funny. I'm starting, as you can see, a new Gratty Pad, and I couldn't find my other Gratty Pad for like 3 or 4 days, and I didn't do it. And I think it's the first time in 2 years, and I was so cranky. And I'm like, oh, it's because I didn't start that out right. So daily practice is super, super important.
Especially for the entrepreneurial adventurer, because there's so much uncertainty in our lives. And we have to bring the faith and the inspiration. We really have to kind of coach ourselves sometime in the morning to get us going. So, viewers, how delicious is Debbie Phillips?
Oh, thank you.
Go to womenonfire.com. You can learn all about her and her wonderful platform there. And remember, folks, live folks, I'm going to put the link to this room in the comment section after I hit end broadcast. So don't worry about hair, makeup. You can even leave the video off. We'd love to hear from you, and of course see you if you're comfortable with that in the Afterglow chat. It's a way to connect with other entrepreneurs, have our own little mini membership moment together with Debbie Phillips. So I do hope you live viewers will join us, okay? So Debbie, 2003, you began the whole Women on Fire platform. What did you do? How did you get started? I know you said you brought your clients together and had them start talking amongst themselves,
right.
But so then what happened?
Yeah, so what I decided to do, and my husband had a full-time coaching practice as well, we ended up and put, I think it was 70, 80 people together, all the people that we knew, so it's half men, half women, and we saw a play in New York together called Women on Fire, and that was a whole long story. I ended up and met a playwright who had a play, and so it was perfect. And after that, I said to my husband, it was enormously successful because we, instead of the way we introduced everybody, we put name tags that people just simply said what they were on fire about, not their name. And yeah, it was really awesome. And I saw that was a catalyst for a lot, just for people to say what they were on fire about. And so from that event, in that moment, I told my husband, I said, I want to do something a little bit smaller. And he was the one brilliant guy that he goes, well, you love tea parties. Why not start tea parties? Which, of course, brilliant idea. So I began to put women together, and I did that for more than 10 years, put
Tell
women
everybody about
together.
the tea parties, because these are really cool.
Yeah, they were really awesome. We used a very particular elegant brownstone in New York City, and we've held them all over the country. Last year they closed our private room, and I think this place has probably gone out of business as well. And you know, it's one of those things when you're an entrepreneur, like sometimes there's a time and place, and we still do, but it's not the mainstay anymore. The focus really is the membership package that comes every month.
Right. Oh, I love that. And I love that you're helping women. I mean, not that we don't love our men, but guys, this is niche marketing too. I mean, you need to be focused on who you feel that you resonate the most, who you believe that you'll serve the best, that ideal client. And Debbie clearly figured that out. Okay, so for years you were just humming along as, you know, Debbie inspiring. You had great CDs for everybody to listen to. You
Thank
did.
you. Thank you.
What other things did you do before you decided to switch into a membership paid format?
Well, I started in-person events. So not only the teas, but then we started doing a retreat. So there would be larger groups of women getting together. And I started that in 2007, and that was enormous. I saw the power of meeting. And for anybody thinking about a membership program, there is such a power in at least getting together once a year. So we started the annual retreats, and we hold those. And in fact, our next one is in Nashville in April of 2016.
Yeehaw!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody's very excited about that. And
I'm so sorry I missed the one in Chicago this past week. Oh my God. You have one of my favorite women speaking there.
Sherry Salata or Mara Schiavacampo. We had both of them.
I got to tell you, these are women who know how to produce and get things done and get everybody in alignment. I got to tell you, they're remarkable. I'm so glad you had them. I'm sorry I had to miss it. That is the obligation.
I am too. Sherry Salata, if any of you don't know, is the president of OWN, not Harpo, but OWN, which is, of course, the Oprah Winfrey Network. And she doesn't speak outside of her industry that often, so it was particularly wonderful. So that's, again, as an entrepreneur, it's a joy for me to bring people to my women who either normally don't speak out or I just want them to know, because Sherry is a friend and is just an awesome woman.
Right. And entrepreneurs, we need to consistently be looking at different revenue streams. We don't want all our eggs in one basket. So Debbie, you know, still had her coaching practice. She also was, you know, publishing books and other things. And she had the one-on-one events, which can really be great cash cow opportunities, right, Debbie?
Right. It's in fact, I should have had this number available, because, you know, we know the stream. I mean, I am in business with my husband, and he does a lot of corporate coaching, and we have Vision Day, which is a strategic planning day for your life. But I would probably say we have 12 to 15 different revenue streams, which is so nice when you're an entrepreneur.
Right. So when was it that you actually turned this wonderful membership? You grew it to perhaps a certain number you were waiting. How did you decide to monetize this, and how well did that go over? And of course, my other question is, how did you make it so that everybody felt that they were getting a lot of value for that money?
Well, great questions. And what happened was, there was more of a need. I was getting, because we're national, I was getting more and more requests for events and for material. And I knew the only way to do it, because I couldn't be everywhere, was to have a membership program. It took us about a year to think through the offering. What is it that our women? So again, if you have a business, think through, what do your people need? What are the people who come to you? What are they asking for? And it's hard, because, you know, there's a million things, probably there are a long list of things you could give them, but you have to decide, what do I want to deliver and what's going to be most beneficial to them, and build it. And it took us a year to build it. And we launched it 4 years ago this fall. So we have 4 years almost behind us with the membership program. And we launched it at one of our annual retreats, and it was so funny. I only mentioned women had been asking, they'd asked about a membership, but I simply mentioned it from the stage. And of course, in my heart, I was like, will anybody sign up? And
It's a very normal human reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
What have I done?
What have I done? And the funny thing was, once I mentioned it, and then I went on and I was talking, and I noticed a few people getting up, but of course I thought they were going to the bathroom. And what I learned is that they ran right out to sign up. And I think that day, we had we had 150 people there, and I think we signed up like 50 people that day, that very first day.
That's phenomenal. And I know you just go to womenonfire.com/membership, and you'll see that Debbie, in her group there, they charge $29 a month. Is that right?
$29.95. That's it.
That's right. And so, and members get what?
So what they get is let me see if I have a package. Oh, I do. So what they do is they get a CD, they get a package that has a transcript, they get a coaching lesson, they get a live. So every month I do a live stream like you do, which is again why technology is so phenomenal for us and our businesses. And I coach them on anything they want. There's always a topic. They get a private Facebook page where it's a private page, so they can say anything on it, and their Women on Fire sisters support them in that. And that goes 24/7, so you can get support that way, and lots of goodies, lots of discounts for things. Yeah.
And I think what you do is you curate. Nobody has time to curate. There's so much going on. You bring your wonderful, delicious, refined sensibilities as to what women in your audience will want to hear. And you make sure you bring it to them, and it's timely information. It's inspirational. There's business. You use a lot of role models. You interview a lot of women. It's really phenomenal. And I know a few platforms out there that are moving in that direction as well. The Wellness Universe, we had Sherry and Anna on.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're just delicious. And there's another one, Reach, Connect, and Uplift with Lainey Sullivan. And I know that she has the potential too for a strong membership program, because it's the ability to curate and know what your audience wants. So anyway, one of the questions we have that popped up, let me just bring it up here, from Scott.
Yes.
And he said it was very easy for him to create a community and harvest lots of members. And I have done it a few times, but here's the question I would like to see Debbie Phillips address. Where is the money? And don't think that I am cynical. I just need answers from my accountant. That's all. Good accountant for asking that too.
Well, first of all, Scott, here I want to say this about being cynical. I have always viewed cynical people are passionate people who don't want to be disappointed again. So I hear, Scott, that you've tried this before, and I will tell you the most important thing of all is setting it up so that people can pay you and being very, very consistent in what you deliver. So each and every month, I have a whole list of things that I make sure I deliver, and then I try to throw in some goodies from time to time just to keep people interested and inspired. So Scott, I don't know if you were charging, but it's really important, even if it's a small amount, even if it's $5 a month. I mean, I know a program, Christine Carlson has a program that's $9 a month that brings people together as members. She's the author with her late husband, Richard, of Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. So it doesn't have to be something enormous, but the important thing, and Christine does this beautifully, is you have to be consistent. So I hope, I don't know your circumstances, but I hope you'll go back and just charge a price, and don't be daunted. Just keep going, and you'll attract people if you're consistent.
Thanks, Debbie. And what about, how do you, because I had that question, like, how do you manage bringing in new members and retaining current members and the whole flow of keeping everyone engaged?
We're just always doing that. So on Facebook, we have the page that is the Women on Fire page, that there are 70,000, there's 75,000 women there now. So and something else I want to say to Scott and everyone else is, I think it is so important to have a vision. And the vision for Women on Fire has always been the same, and that is to provide inspiration, strategies, and support for women to live their dream. And that's never changed, never wavered. And so as part of that, there's the Facebook page, and that's free. So anybody can go on that. There's the Spark, that is a weekly spark of inspiration, strategies, and support. That's free. So offering something like that just to get people so they can have a feel for your work. And then if they like it or they want to go deeper, then you can offer the membership. And Ande, you've done a beautiful job of this. You've got a lot of followers, you know?
Thank you so much, Debbie. And what you do is you, when you bring in your goodies, it's for members only. So someone's sitting there going, well, shoot, that's worth $30 a month for me. And again, you've brought in a nice group of high caliber individuals who all are inspiring themselves in different ways. Some are searching, some are in the flow of what they're doing and their passion and living their dreams. So I think that's really cool, Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so thrilled with how it's been. And the women themselves have created something. And anybody you bring together, whatever your particular thing is, you can, you're just the overseer. You're like the mayor. You just oversee, you make sure things run smoothly. You make sure services get delivered. You make sure people are behaving. Because by the way, in our membership community, I've created a culture. Our women have created a culture of uplifting each other, of supporting each other. And honestly, I've had to fire a couple of members along the way because they were either help rejecting complainers or they took an unfair advantage of women. And I don't want that culture. And so I have no problem, warning people and then revoking their membership. And it's important for anybody having a membership that they keep it safe.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're here to benefit those members who are benefiting from the exchange and the engagement and the connection. And so that was my next question. When you set things up in the membership, you set up sort of a protocol, expectations, things like that?
All of that. And for those of us who have online businesses, and Ande, I know you know this well, it's such a process. And you want to try to cover as much as you can with autoresponders and things like that tell people how they can become most successful. I think we even have a document now that's like how to become your most successful inside Women on Fire, because we want everybody to take full advantage of it. So very important to set expectations for your members. But of course, in the beginning, when you start out, you can just have a simple little credo or a simple, little 5 steps of how to belong to this community and get the most out of it.
I love that. And there's so much offered for free on the internet. I'm always talking about, look, what you do is valuable. Whenever you open your mouth, you're providing valuable information. And we've gotten too far into here, let's have this for free. No. What do you think of that?
Right. Oh, exactly. And the internet has allowed us to step into the door, but to really be in the room with something you're really passionate or interested in people are willing to pay for that. I mean, I'm willing to pay for that. I have belonged to mastermind groups. I have paid, every year I have an education budget and I use it fully. And I do all kinds of things to keep learning because I want to be in the room. I don't want to just step into the door. I want to be in the room in some things. And that's how I feel about Women on Fire. And we have like this amazing, amazing organization of women. And also something else that I love the title of this because I do believe that entrepreneurs are moving much more toward a membership model. And this is, I forget how you titled it, but the economy is the new,
the membership economy. It's a new currency for business. It really, really is. Yes. I'm so excited to see people shifting to paid. I'm seeing the webinars are paid for now. Yeah. I mean, the Wellness Universe for their members, they have a sliding scale. I think that's amazing. Pay what you want. But I just think that we have to, it's a worthiness issue at the end of the day. And with, how many folks with real brick and mortar businesses would be giving stuff away for free? No, they might give a sampling, but we've got to start charging.
Yeah. And And for anyone, and beautifully said, Ande, and for anyone who wants to start a membership program, I think it is important. You know, it is important to give tastes and tests and to have something for free, but to think about what your offerings are, because our offerings go from free to $10,000. So once you're in the swirl, you know, you have access. And then as an entrepreneur, I have things in my toolkit that earn us a really, really good living. So I encourage everybody to have a variety of, you know, we have products that we sell. Obviously, we have books, we have programs, and then we have our Vision Day. So when you're developing a membership, think of the scale of pricing that you can offer people.
Yeah, and I think what you put in, and you said it took you about a year to really refine, because this, I think what happens is people throw up their membership and nobody shows up. And they're like, why? There really is. You have to get very clear about your vision. You need to give it time. You need to find your stakeholders from the beginning, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Your super fans, you know, the people who love you. And if it's 5 people, great. If it's, you know, it will become more, because if you give them a good experience, they're going to tell other people.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit about some of the side streams that you have, because you do some wonderful books that you launch as a collaboration with other authors. Share with viewers that.
Yeah. Oh, so as a coach, I heard so often from women, I want to write a book. And the corollary to that is there were so many great stories of women that I coach. So what I knew it in my heart, and I certainly, you know, my background was as a journalist. So I always knew that I wanted to put together a book, and we now have 2. And so the first one, and the title, and it was one of those wonderful things. The title just came to me one moment, 1 second, and it was Women on Fire, 20 inspiring women share their life secrets and save you years of struggle, because that's the whole idea. So this is volume 1, volume 2, and it's filled with stories of women who struggled. Maybe it was divorce, maybe they didn't go to college and they didn't feel successful and they went back to college. And then what did they do to overcome the struggle, and what are the strategies? Because I think when we all share the ups and downs in our lives, it cuts out all that fussing around, doing it on our own. So very proud of our books. And
I love your books, and I love all the things that you bring that are so valuable. Deborah Oakland, who has the Living and Courage platform.
I love her, Deborah Oakland.
Yeah, so here she is with her comment. Debbie Phillips is a delight. Women on Fire is an incredible community I've been following for years. Women need strong communities. It bonds the female energy and creates shifts so needed in the world at this time. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for creating a great community. And it's so interesting because I'll hear, I love the piece you did on Anna, and I forgot the other young woman's name.
Sharon, yeah.
Sharon. Yeah, and Deborah, and as many of these kinds of communities as we can create. I love it. I do think that there will be a future where it will be like, where do you belong? You know, like in the old days where it was like, what church did you go to? And I know many people still do, but
well, I think, and I don't know where I read this, but it said that technology provides us an extension of the human experience. And what that is you might not find in your town of 4,000 the like-minded people who can cheer you on, but online you can. And I have found extraordinary people online who have added so much value to my life, who I love and behold in my heart for forever. Some of which I have not met, Deborah Oakland, and they've been so important in my life. So I think using the internet in a way like this, the belonging is so key, right, Debbie? You talk a little bit about that, because you understand the connection that's so important, the human connection.
Right. Well, and I just want to point out to you, Ande, that the joy and the lift that you give people, and you've been so consistent in all these years that I've known you. So please, I just want to wrap my arms around you and what you've done. And it's one of the reasons I wanted, there was no question about going on this show today, because I so love and value you and what you have done. And so tell me your question again quickly, because I just forgot.
I mean, that people are using technology to find where they belong. And so you set up this, but what is it? Why do we crave?
Well, what happens is there's actually this idea, and when I was coaching, I would raise this with people. At any given time, there's this being, belonging, and doing. We have this need for being sometimes, this need for doing, this need for belonging. So I would often ask people, where are you on that scale? And then look at each one individually. And on the belonging scale, we all have, it's something that we move toward. A therapist once told me that even people with very severe, serious diagnoses of mental illness still have this need for connection, this need for intimacy, this need to belong. And we all have it. So we need to check, like and I always just ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, how are your belonging needs being met? And obviously with Women on Fire, one of the reasons I wanted to create a worldwide community of like-hearted women, is what I've always called it, like-hearted women who feel they belong, and that no matter what's going on in their life, they may be super successful right now and on top of the world, or, you know, the next week somebody may have died in their life, that whatever it is, they can come right back into the community and belong. It's where they belong.
Oh, what did you call the need to belong? Your
Yeah, it's being, so just the whole being, because sometimes we just need to be, and then belonging and doing. So sometimes we need to just do something. We need to get something going. We need to get something off of our plate. We need to accomplish something. So being, belonging, doing. And there's actually a great book by that title, and there's some wonderful information in it by the guy's last name is Potter Efron. I forget his first name.
Yeah, what a great name. Hey, so what do you, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I like to ask all my guests this question. What do you love most about what you're doing?
Oh, wow. There's so much. And I think it's the deep satisfaction of knowing that the thing that I know about or desired or dreamed of, that people could feel connected, knowing that, but then not having a community until, you know, Women on Fire, and then seeing Women on Fire thrive. It's just so rich and rewarding. And so even if, don't tell anybody this, but even if I weren't paid for it, I would be loving it. You know, it's like the frosting, or we had a friend from Italy the other day who said, oh, that is like the cherry on top of the frosting on top of the pie. And I go, right. That's what it is. You know, that I get paid, that this is my work. I love what these women accomplish together. And I often say to people, when you create a community, a rising tide lifts all boats. So because come together in Women on Fire, I feel all of our boats are lifted because of that.
That's right. It's so beautiful. And you do a wonderful job at showcasing and spotlighting and celebrating their accomplishments too.
I'm so proud of them.
It's a great feeling. It really is. What do you see on the horizon for Women on Fire?
Well, interesting that you should mention that, because I have been playing around, and I was curious if you have been too, with Periscope, which is this new app that is live streaming. And so I'm playing around with it. My husband's laughing at me because he's like, well, just when I'm doing Periscopes, and you can get to me it's just at Women on Fire. It's through Twitter, and it's a wonderful app. And I see that that's a future. I see much more live streaming, live video, what you're doing, Ande, you know, times 10 for Women on Fire.
It's a lot of fun, as long as you can, you know, make sure it's not about, you know, what you're eating so much as it's, you know, real connection. And Meerkat, which my Galaxy S4 does not support Periscope. But Meerkat does. And so what Meerkat has just started is what I call a tag your it, but you can have somebody who's watching, you can hand over the reins to them and they can come on and share. Now that would be great for your
that would be wonderful. And thank you. That's a great tip. I did want to investigate and look at what Meerkat was. I was really just looking at the sheer volume on Periscope. But again, there's so many wonderful tools and places to connect.
And you're doing so much fun on Periscope, because you just start right off. And you're one of those people who you're talking. It is so delicious. And I know I have a wonderful gentleman known as Intuitive Mitchell. And Periscope for his daily dashboard reading. So he's in his car, he sets his Periscope up, and he's called by Spirit to pull 2 or 3 cards, and he pulls them and he gives a message for everybody, and then he'll do one free reading for, 1 card for somebody. And I thought, I love that.
I love that too. And I just love how people can bring their gifts to the world. So that's a great,
wonderful use. At this point, I love to wave and blow kisses to folks who swung by to say hi and said, we'll be catching you on the replay. So I'm just going to take a quick moment to say thank you and mwah, 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 to Phil at One Great Life, who will be listening to us during the commute, Don Swick Renshaw, Blair Glazer, Alice Badler, Erica Cook, who was with me in that photo when we first heard you back in May of 2011. And then Cheryl Adams Snyder. How sweet were you to leave that delicious comment on Facebook?
She's wonderful. She's a woman on fire.
Yeah, and then Kristen Hancock. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Laura Verrilli, who was my guest last week for LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, she's crazy about you, and she is a woman on fire. Cherie Valentine, who cooks and watches the show, which I love. Dave is vacationing in Greece right now, Santorini. Oh my gosh. And Cheryl Morella and Frank Gangsford, who's just such a huge fan and promoter of the show. I'm grateful to all of you and all you other replay viewers. Thank you for taking the time. And there's Debbie too, blowing her MUAHs. It's so important. These are discussions that I have. This will be the 43rd show of Possibility Partners. You can launch, grow, build, brand, and escalate your business through these shows. They're amazing, having guests like Debbie on today, sharing incredible wisdom for you and giving you more ideas and in ways that you can grow and prosper. I'm all about that prospering. I want our businesses to serve us in all ways, especially financially. So Debbie, any last thoughts you'd like to share before we go to the Afterglow chat?
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. I can feel the energy, and it's just amazing. It just feels so good, and you lead that. And speaking of so much possibility in the world, thank you, Ande, because you're bringing it, and thank you for showcasing and highlighting women on fire. It just really means the world to me, because you are such a woman on fire. Thank you.
Absolutely. Entrepreneurial adventurers, I have such deep respect and awe and wonder for the courage, tenacity, persistence, and resilience you show with such grace and dignity every single day in your journey. I'm so honored to be part of the journey with you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing you an Andelicious day. Mwah! And here's Debbie saying, wait, one more time, Debbie.
Thank you. So wonderful to be here.
Okay, and we'll see you other folks in the Afterglow chat. Have a great week, everyone.